Hi, welcome back to Guessagaingaming, playing Age of Wonders Planetfall. Firstly, sorry for the slight delay between the last video and this one. I think it was a couple of days when I was very busy with work and other stuff. And then the day I actually wanted to make the video, I won't lie, I got caught up in playing another game, which was Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain, which is a whole different thing from this. And I got stuck on a mission, and I kept replaying it, and it ended up being ridiculously late. So anyway, that's not an excuse, it's just a reason, and anyone who plays games will understand how you can suddenly get caught up in a game and you don't even mean to, and you just can't leave it until you finish a certain part. So anyway, that was my last few days. So I thought I'd wait for Sunday, which it is today, when I had a nice clear day. So here we are back in the world, and I think we finished our turns for that last. Okay, no, we didn't quite finish our turns, so maybe we can move our bird guy, or maybe we can't. No. Okay, so one thing I was thinking while I was loading this, I always think about video games while I'm loading into do this channel and start a game with you, is it must be very hard for people. Hard is the wrong word, but I mean, I play quite a lot of different games. I don't buy a game specifically to play them on the channel. I just buy games, and then if I like them or there's something about them, I'll play them on the channel. But of course, there's many people who play games and buy them straight up when they've come out to play them and review them on their channels. And they play other games as well, of course, and it must be very hard to keep track of what you're playing, and every game has different functions, different buttons, different things they do, different control settings, and sometimes people are playing it on PC and on different systems, PlayStation, Xbox. It must be very, very difficult, because I find it hard to go between even the turn-based games, like this one. If I went back into Phantom Doctrine, which I'm kind of playing a bit at the moment as well, and I find it difficult to sometimes remember which controls do which, and especially with the non-turn-based, like I said, Phantom Pain, Metal Gear Solid 5, and different games like that. If I went between that and The Witcher 3 and Cyberpunk and Watch Dogs Legion, all the controls for shooting are different and moving are different, and yeah, so you have to really be on it, and I'm usually not on it. It takes me at least a few minutes when I start up these things to go through the systems and remember which button does which, and sometimes I'll still get it wrong. Anyway, there we are. So I kind of looked at this and I was thinking, we've got to see there, so there's a limit. We do want to kind of explore, but there's a limit to kind of how far we want to go, because there's a limit to how far we can possibly need to go. And at some point you will end up in, if you send your scouts off into the distance, at some point they'll run into trouble and they will end up dying. So it's all a balance of, do you want them to go endlessly and just die, or do you want to get them to a certain spot and bring them back? There's some bits and pieces over there. So really now, because you can see how far away we are from where our original main colony is, Guessagaingaming, we're kind of basically moving our scouts just to find out if we can spot the enemy AI players. We're not really going to be setting up colonies this far away from our first colony anytime soon. Like I said, if you do that, it's very difficult, because to get resources between your two colleagues, especially colonies, especially armies, it's difficult. And what will happen is that someone else, whether it's an NPC faction or one of the AI players, they can take the sections in between, and then you're kind of cut off. So I wouldn't advise you to do that in a rush. So I think we'll have a bit more exploring, just to see. Okay. You can build ships, by the way. I haven't even got that tech up, I think, at the moment, but you can build ships, which is fun. And you can have a fleet, and you can fight on your fleet. You can fight at sea, actually, which I'll show you at some point. So firstly, we've finished our tech. We've unlocked something which looks like
traveling through forested ways.
A kind of bug thing with 2 or 3 legs, but whatever. So, photon acceleration, hard light systems. Okay, sounds nice. So, at this place now, we built a bird, and the bird there is kind of just to explore a bit in another direction. So, we'll send our bird down there, and we've got a bird in every direction, which sounds ominous. There's probably a joke in there somewhere. Anyway, so now we've got this army. See, this leader's really waiting for us to develop 2 more units so we can make that army 6 and have a full army. You don't need to. I mean, it's just one of those things. I think in games where there's a limited amount of spaces for your army, I always feel like filling them. So in some games, I don't know, old PC games like Total War, you obviously have loads of slots for your army and you're never going to fill them all, and you don't have all your armies filled. You can't fill them all, you have so many armies. But in this, when you have limited armies and you have a leader, I always like to have the leader's army full for some reason. If I had 4 other units instead of 5, it would make a lot of difference, but that's just me. Maybe it's a slight OCD thing, I don't know. Because you can have 4 different units that are very, very strong. So what we kind of want to do, the problem is I want to annex a section because you get income in resources from the sections you annex, but the sections we can annex are all, because we've got this in the middle here, that's stopping us annexing this one, because this one is not directly connected to our colonies. What's this one? Let's see. And again, it's possibly just me, but I like to, at least at the beginning, I like to have my areas of control kind of consecutive. So these, I'd like to link all these things up, so when we're moving our armies, we're moving through our own sectors. We won't be able to do it with this one yet because they've got quite a good base there, and we're not really at war with them, so we don't really want to start fighting that NPC faction. But as far as I can, I'd like to. We might come down here, and sometimes you have to, like that sector, I think I said before, that sector's quite good. It's got a colony. We might make a colony there at some point, because sometimes you have to pick up these like not very great sectors. There's nothing specific there, just to have adjacent sectors. Yeah, and also, like I said, you have to have an army. It doesn't have to be a leader army. It can just be a unit, but you have to have a unit on the square or the tile. Let's call it a tile, where the control for that sector is to take it into control, or to build a forward base. So we can't do that quite yet. We can do it next turn. So let's see here. We're not doing anything at the moment. Click out of our unit, or we'll move it. Improved military infrastructure is always good. Like I said, these other things, they will build the units we're already building at our capital. I'll call it our capital, Guessagaingaming. But we can already build them, so it's not priority. We're not at war really with anyone yet, so we'll have improved military infrastructure. That means we've got a better defending force, and that's always good. We can move that one, but we won't. We've moved our birds. Okay, we'll end our turn. I think it's interesting, isn't it? Like I've said this before on this channel on many occasions with different games. I think I said it quite a few times about this game actually. Is you get games where you know straight away you don't like them. and there's something about them you don't like. And you get games, I'll come to what's saying on screen in a minute. You get games where you know straight away you do like them a lot, and you're going to come back to them. XCOM 2 is an example. And you get lots of these games where there's so many games to play, and like I said, I don't buy every game out by any stretch of the imagination, but I've got games that I've downloaded from the PlayStation Store in sales that I've never touched. And it's interesting which games you start, which games you just never get into. Some games you'll start a little bit, I'm sure everyone's the same, you'll start a little bit and you'll think, no. Some games you'll start, and a good example is actually the game I was talking about at the beginning of the video, Metal Gear Solid 5 Phantom Pain. I've never played any Metal Gear, but I saw something about that online somewhere and I thought, that looks interesting, let's give it a go. And I played it the first time before Christmas, so it was a while ago, a few months ago. And I didn't understand it, maybe my mind wasn't in the right frame set. Like I said, to play new games, you need to kind of be really on it, because there's always different controls, different systems, etc., etc. And I couldn't get the hang of what was going on. I think I didn't understand what was happening at all. That game, if you don't know, is kind of broken into chapters, which I was like, what's this about? And I think I got killed, and I couldn't really work out what to do. And then beginning of this week, I started playing it again. I thought, let's give it another go, and I did. And because I was in a different frame of mind, and because I persevered, I think I got into it, and now I've got many hours, let's just say. So anyway, enough about that. We're not even playing that game at the moment. I may play a couple of those on the channel at some point. So the problem with games like that, especially that game, is there's no saves. So what it is if I started doing that on the channel, I'd have to do it where I am now, because I can't go back and start a new playthrough. There's no option to manually save whatsoever. It just saves your progress for the one game. So either I'd have to start again, which I'm not going to do, or I'd have to just drop in where I am. I might just drop in and play one video where I am. Anyway, so we've met another AI player. Show where we met, as I said before, that will show you kind of where they are. The use to that is it will show you roughly, where you might expect to see them, and that's not far away, actually. So we're here, and they're there. So that's not bad. I mean, it's not an army, it's a scout. They've got a scout. I don't know whether they've got the option to have flying scouts, but they've got a walking scout, so they're just sending a scout, because you wouldn't send one unit. So it's interesting. I should take credit for this. It's interesting for myself, because I didn't know they did that. They haven't done it in the other game. But what they've done is what I did. They've just sent a single unit as a scout. So I think like the AI, at least in that one thing. Anyway, so that just tells us that AI plus faction, the army of Dalai, is over there somewhere. And we've got one of our bird things over there, so we might have a little look around down here later on to see where that is. In fact, we'll do it now. We'll head down that way, because we're getting a bit off grid up there anyway, so we'll have a little look around. We may not find them, and this map's big, so we may not find them, and we may just fly around a bit, but at least we'll know they're not close. It's good, like I said, it's always good to know where the NPC factions are and the AI players, because it helps when you're expanding. If you see a sector you really want and you know that they're quite near, you want to grab it before they do, and you know where their army's going to come from, so you might know where to booster your forces. Like I said, they're not all at war straight away, but they will be at some point. Usually one of them might kill the other one, but there's quite a few of them. So I think now we'll show you annex, which I did in the tutorial, but anyway. So we can annex this sector for Handfil, yeah. It's got a kind of Scandinavian spelling at the end of it. Anyway, if I saw that, I think it was a town in Norway or Sweden. Apologies if you're from Norway or Sweden and think no way, but anyway. As a person from London, it looks like that, so that's not an insult to you, it's probably an insult to me. Anyway, So here we are, we're annexed that sector. Like I said, everything's next turn, so that will happen next turn, and that will just mean that we've got consecutive sectors. And we can we'll have a look over here. Even though it's not our bird, we can still use that to oh, that's not very nice, what's that? Army of Roto. Okay, that's interesting. So that's another, I'm assuming that's another AI player army, and that's quite a big army. So it's similar power to our army, but it's not to be taken lightly, so that's worth noting. Okay, we've made our new troop, which we will move to join our leader. And like I said, I really want to get that army full, so we'll make that thing that I just acquired, which is a Borean Sentinel. Has a laser cannon, so that's good. It's tier 2. It's got a shield. It's a heavy unit. Takes 4 turns. So let's make one of those. Sometimes, like with every game ever, you can see something in theory and it sounds good, and it may be good, and it's either the way you play or your play style doesn't fit that unit, or they just aren't as good as they sound. And this game's no different. There's so many different factions and different units, and you'll find things that you think, that sounds fantastic. And then when you get to it, it doesn't perform in the way you hope. So, that one's gone, hasn't it? Yeah. We've got our army there. As I've only gone through this kind of with one faction, although I've tried to conquer different planets, that's the thing you can do. You can pick a new planet and start a new conquest of a different planet through the main screen. But I've only used the original starting faction I had. I'm not sure whether the enemy AI is always similar in behaviour, as in the first games I played, they weren't particularly aggressive, and they spent a lot of time building their colonies and actually fighting each other before they bothered with me. But I'm not sure if that's what they always do, so let's have a look here what this is. Ruins, a potential colony. At some point we might build, we might build it now actually. Let's see what we've got. What we'd need to build a colonizer. Wrong one. We would need 50 and 10. Okay, we might do that now actually. If you do build a colonizer and you don't use it, you can wait with it. And like I said, you need to think a bit about where you're putting your colonies. Number one, because of where your other colonies are. Number two, like I said, you can't put one colony slap bang next to another. You have to leave a section in between. Also, you need to, once you've done a bit of scouting like I have, you might need to see where some good sectors are that you might want to take over. And also, as I've found now, I kind of know where some of the AI player sectors are, and where their armies might end up being, which direction. So you need to take all these things in consideration. But like I said, once you make a colonizer, the next one costs more. So if we make that one, you can see straight away the next one's going to cost 150 in energy and 20 in cosmite. So each time you make one, it costs more. So you don't want to waste them. I don't mean waste them, you're not going to put them in a battle and they're not going to get killed. Well, I suppose they can theoretically, but you don't want to build a colony somewhere and then think, damn, I really wished it was on the next tile, because once you've done it and you've got to make a whole new one. So they've moved, so that's fine. And as you can see with this little section of the game, you get whole bits of time in this game where you don't have to have a battle, and that's fine. You don't need to have a battle. I'm quite glad not to actually, having been playing Metal Gear and having like ongoing real-time FPS battles. It's quite refreshing to just be doing this and not having to fight, even in turn-based, so I don't mind. But yeah, you get whole, like I said, it's not XCOM 2 is the example. It's not you're setting up everything to have another battle. This is not that at all. You can go through whole periods without having a battle, and sometimes you may not want to have a battle. There's a very fine line, as in all games, between having a battle just to level up troops and having a battle and losing troops. So I would suggest, unless you're, like you saw earlier in the videos, if you've been watching, unless you're kind of killing enemies just for fun because they're obviously very underpowered, there's no real point in just fighting enemies for the sake of it. So for example, who's that? Oh. Okay, so we've got a new leader, hero, whatever, that we can have, and we can't have them because we haven't got enough energy, because as I said, each time you pick a new hero, they cost more as well, just like the colonizer. We can see what this guy brings. Detoria the Thundering. Well, they look nice. I've never had anyone that looks like this from whatever the faction this is. Crystal Shotgun sounds really cool. I think I've had one of those before that I found somewhere, but it looks good. So we'll probably pick that one up if we can. They don't, by the way, these heroes don't stand there forever, so if you don't pick one up when they're there, within a few turns, it's not one turn, but if you don't pick them up quickly, they go away. Another one will come, but you can't just leave them standing there because they've obviously apparently got better things to do. So we finished one of our...
Just envision a better life where all the tasks you hate are automated.
Yeah, that's operational effectiveness, which, like I said, it means when you do operations against the enemy or your own, it just means they're more effective. It's pretty obvious. Production development, food development, research development, yeah. Like I said, I'm leaving that aquatic deployment because there's no sea anywhere near us, and it's not something we're going to need. We will probably need it at some point. We may not ever need it because it may be that we end up fighting everywhere and winning or losing long before we get to the sea. But we don't need that now. It will just be something. So let's have research development, and then we'll finish our turn. I think that this game is okay, so some marauder army is attacking our colony. It's a low risk battle. Like I said, if you do a low risk battle, if you do any battle on auto combat and you unsuccessful, you don't like the results, you can play it manually again. So we'll auto it. We collect some food, we killed them all, that's fine because our defending force was good, there's no need to re-entry. That's all good. Also, I think that thing with auto combat, which I like, in theory, it's also a kind of mood dependent thing. It's a bit, like I said, I liken that function to if you ever played the PC series Total War. And it's good when you're taking over settlements and you're having battles, if you can auto resolve, I think it's called auto resolving every battle to a point, but then it becomes boring if all you're doing is manually, automatically having battles, because you never get the fun of the battle. So it's a balance between doing that because it saves a bit of time and sometimes you'll probably get a better result, or never doing that, or doing it sometimes and having a battle. So it's a balance, and it depends on, like I said, it depends on kind of what mood you're in. You might want to have battles, you might not, and kind of what your play style is, because this is a game where you could very much be playing as a civilization builder that you have to have some battles, or you could be playing it in a kind of aggressive turn-based battle game and you have to do some civilization building in the background. So I think we better take. Oh no, we've not got enough to get that guy still, so that's not good. I mean, the worst that can happen is, I can't remember how long these heroes stay. The worst that can happen is they'll go, and we'll have to get somebody else. But okay, so we're using that bird. We'll go that way. Have a look around there. It might as well use up all of its flight because there's no downside to that. That leader's still waiting for that unit to come from Guessagaingaming. I think we'll let's go up here a bit. That looks interesting. What's that? Ah, okay, so that's interesting. That's a settlement, but it's not a AI player settlement, and that's actually, you can see from the units, especially the last one there, it's an Amazon Huntress, so that actually is an Amazon settlement. But we could capture that settlement in theory, and we can have it as our own, as our colony. It would be better for us if we captured it and it wasn't our own faction, because then we'd have units that we could create there that were a different faction, but it's an Amazon one, so whatever. But you get a free, if we colonise that, if we took it, it's possible, we'd get a free colony without using a coloniser, but as you can see, it's quite a way away. So again, that's not going to happen anytime soon, because to get there, and you can see it's a long way off, to get there, not only would we have to make quite a big army, but in travelling that distance, the chance we'd end up in a battle with marauders or an NPC faction or somebody else is high. So it's like everything, when you're travelling a long way in any battle, in any game like this, to get to a battle, the chance you have another battle and we wouldn't be able to get new troops, we'd be too far away, it would be difficult. So once you leave your settlements, there's no way to, you occasionally have a battle where someone will join you. It happens, a random unit might join you, but in general, once you leave your colony, there's no way you can get new units unless you go back to your colony or you send them from your colony. So there's no way to spawn a new unit in the field, as it were. So if we sent an army over there and we lost 2 of our units or 3 of them, we'd be stuck, because then we wouldn't be able to make any new units, and we might not even get back. So we're looking for the AI player, which we still haven't found. We don't want to send our army too far. That's our best army, and although nothing much is happening here at the moment, we don't really want to. In fact, we might go there. We don't really want to. We've only got 2 armies, and the other one's not properly full yet. We don't really want to send our main army off randomly. We don't know what's over there. There could be disaster there or disaster back home, so we might build a forward base there. They're waiting, they've moved, okay. Like everything in every game, in this game, is all about decisions, and all your decisions make a difference, because you can decide to, everything you do, you can decide to move an army somewhere and they can get in trouble. Not move an army, it can be the wrong thing. You can you can make a colony in the wrong place. There are different kinds of decisions, but they all have ramifications. So I think we'll build a forward base. Like I said, forward bases basically give you kind of, well, it's what it is. You've got a defending full set. I mean, if we sort of staked a claim to that thing where it says dreaded death, underneath it says factions with a claim. If it's just you, no problem. If it's you and one of the NPC factions, well, again, you can claim it and they might not like it, but whatever. If it's you and one of the AI players, then you have to think about it, because it might cause a war. But again, it's all a balance, so we're not at that stage yet. So let's make a forward base there. Like I said, everything's next turn, but that's all good. because we like this sector. This sector's got a lot of things. So the reason we're kind of pushing that way is because we could encompass this area, and the nearer we get to it, the more claim we've got on it. We still need, next turn we can get that guy. Let's go over here. Still can't find the AI players. We've seen their armies, but we haven't seen them. But you can see there's always a lot of things, and you'll have to pick, because there's no way at all you're gonna take over all these different sectors. There's their scout unit, so I wonder where they're going. Yeah, there's no way you can take over all these sectors with all these different exciting things. You'll just have to pick and choose. And in general, again, from my experience of the first time I played through this, and I didn't play to the end. I think it's kind of an ongoing game. You can keep colonising different planets, but yeah, I think that it's best to pick by a kind of what's obtainable and also reasonable. And what I mean by that is, for example, that colony I just showed you that was all the way over up there, it's far, so it might be a good asset, but it's a long way, and getting there and taking over something that far away is going to be problematic. So it's like these areas here are the ones to look at. What's here, what's near, what's something we can annex quickly, what's something that we can get an army to quickly, and then we can spread out from there. But like I said, everyone's play style is different. Maybe being very aggressive can be a good thing in some games, I don't know. I think I'm always slightly cautious in games. Sometimes that's good, sometimes that's bad. So yeah. Okay, we've done that. I've noticed that we've got a photon something from, anyway, photon acceleration, which is nice. You get all these different mods, and you may not, when you're doing this, you won't notice all these different mods you pick up from doing different research, but when you go into your I'll show you in a sec, when you go into your army modifications, you'll notice them. So we can do one of these things. Biochemical corrosive detonator sounds good, we like that. So yeah, when you go into your unit manager, you can pick a unit and you can add a mod there, and when you decide to add a mod there, then you'll get to see all the different mods you can use. Ones we've just researched, I think it was hard light system, so you can see what that is, and some of them, a lot of them actually are very specific. Some of them are just a shield, but a lot of them are very specific, so you'll want to give a mod with a laser to a unit with a laser, and a mod with a biochemical to a unit with a poison or something like that. So a lot of them are very unit specific. It doesn't mean you can't give them sometimes to the unit, but you'll need to check. And the same even with the heroes. And the heroes you can modify in there you get overview, and it says military overview, and then you've got heroes, and you can mod them from there, and that one's already got mods. But yeah, you can see she's got a laser weapon, and we've got shields, we've got armour, we've got more shields. So we could change that actually to one of these, because they're more, that one's a tier 2, so we could put that on because that's a laser. She's got a laser sniper rifle. As you can see, the cost on the right of the mod slot is how much in energy and in right, it's going to cost. The reason I won't do that now, and I will do that if I remember later, is because I really want to recruit that new leader, and if I do that, it'll knock my energy down below again, and I won't be able to, and they might run away. So yeah, you have to keep an eye on a lot of different systems in this. A lot of different things. You can think that sounds good and spend the money, and then you'll need the money or energy, money, all these different resources. You'll need them on something else. So now we're gonna that's not very nice. So that's the NPC faction that's there, and they're getting a bit aggressive. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to recruit that hero, because we've got the energy to do it, and we don't want them to run away, and they sounded good. There's no reason you can't put two heroes in the same army, by the way. You can, but you won't at the moment. We're still building that there. So this is where the NPC faction that just made that threat against us is. So we'll check out them. They're not scary, but they've got enough. They've got two armies, so if they were to bring both their armies against us there, we'd be in trouble. So what we're going to do is we will come back here, and like I said, is that a joining square thing? So because that leader's there and that leader's now ours, and we've got our defending army, we'll have quite a good total there. And we've got our main army there, and because we've got them in our forward base, we've also got and as you can see, it says army per 870, which is our army, plus 480, which is the forward base army. So we've got a defending army there. So even if they use both their armies to attack us at the same time, we'd be okay-ish. I mean, they've got other armies. They've got many armies. I can't think of where they might be. I've seen them, and they always have lots. There's one there, for example. So they're a big faction. They have armies everywhere. So, but like I said, from playing this before, the NPC factions don't. Just because they said they're going to attack us, they may not. And just because they said they're going to attack us, it doesn't mean that all their armies will suddenly start moving to attack everywhere we have. That's not what happened. Again, it may happen in this game because I only played this through from one beginning, but in my experience so far, they don't suddenly all start attacking you, which is good because, like I said in one of the previous videos, if all the NPC army of one faction decided to attack you at once, you'd be screwed. Because they have lots of armies everywhere, they've got some really good tech, and you can see they've got that's a big army, that's as good as any of our armies, and that's just one, and they've got many. So if they all did decide to attack us, we'd be screwed. So I don't know whether that's a game AI mechanic that they've decided to make it so they don't do that because it would be too difficult, or whether I don't know. Anyway, it's not a bad thing. So we've got another thing we can do here. We'll research sector upgrade. These things will bring you in more resources. Colony upgrade, that's good. We still don't want to do that aquatic thing. Covert infiltration. Still maps is okay, but again, it's not as great as it might sound. I didn't find that widely useful. Fabricate Cassius Belli can be maybe. Operational prowess might be good, but I think we'll just produce more because, we'll just produce more. So it's quite possible that within the next little bit of time we'll have a battle with these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quit this particular instalment while we've not got into a battle, because if we do have a battle in the next turn or two with the Paragon faction, it's going to take a bit of time. So we'll quit this video, and we'll resume again next time, and we'll see if we end up fighting the NPC faction, we may actually attack them. And actually, if they do use their 2 armies there to attack us, that would leave their base there open, and we kind of want to, at some point, we want to take this base because it's between our 2 colonies. So we do want that. That's the thing we want the most at the moment. So we'll see. Anyway, thanks for watching, and take care, and I'll be back with another instalment of Age of Wonders Planetfall next time.